myself again. But it's the only
Welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. It's Monday night and it's ladies' night with me, Kendall, Sav, and Katie. Good evening, girls. How are you?
Yeah.
All right.
Good. Sam's having a week off this week. I hope she'll still be tuning in. She'll kind of help herself. I know she'll be watching, and she's no doubt going to chip in on everything that we're talking about tonight. And no Newcastle game, but God, never a dull moment, is there, with the Premier League and what they're trying to get up to. So I think we'll start with that, Kendall. I mean, this statement really beggars belief, doesn't it? That's come out from the Premier League, that Liverpool and Manchester United's owners are more or less trying to, enforce a big change in the league, which would see the Premier League reduced to 18, and essentially money then given to, the EFL, which they're crying out for. But it would be the expense that, a team like Newcastle, which, it just... Yeah, I don't know where to start with this, but what's your thoughts on everything that's come out over the last 24 hours?
It's just like the power play is absolutely ridiculous. And after everything that we went through with the takeover and, the Premier League insisting that the big teams, the top teams didn't have a say in anything. And it's just showing now there's more and more things coming out about it. Like Tottenham apparently allowed 125 million rebate on the build of their new stadium. It's absolutely ridiculous, and the whole 250 million pound to the EFL is just a complete and utter smoke screen for the control that they want to take. Everything comes at a price. Money is not free, so obviously that's coming at the expense of the clubs like us. They want the ruling where they can veto like any possible takeover of a club, which again puts us in a bad position with everything that's been going on. I must admit, the whole subsidising the away tickets at £20, like that's fab, like that should be done anyway. But other than that, I pretty much didn't agree with any of it. It's just going to clog the Championship up. It's going to clog League One, because then they're going to be like 24 team leagues. It's just I just honestly don't even know where it's come from, aside from the fact they want more control, and it's just absolutely ridiculous.
A lot of comments coming in there. Mad Mark says the Big Six is a Sky Sports invention that many people seem to accept as 100% real. Element of self-fulfilling reality in it is money generates money. If repeated often enough, it becomes real, which is a very good way of putting it, Mad Mark. I think that probably shows it right. And Tom says it just goes to show we've been talking and warning about the cartel. Turns out we were right all along. But I didn't expect this, Sav. I've got to be honest. It's almost like a game of poker, but they've shown the hand too early. And, it shows why they were so against Newcastle's proposed takeover by PIF.
Yeah, I didn't expect it either. And, part of me thinks that was going on in the background when the takeover was going around. And that was part of the reason why they didn't give an answer on it. But for me, it just gives the top six superiority at the top of the table. There's going to be no competition anymore because no one will be able to touch them. And I kind of got to the point today where I was thinking, do you know what, if they all want to go off and, on their own and play each other all the time and, have their penis measuring competition on the side and just leave everyone else alone, then I'd be quite happy for that, to be honest, because otherwise, what's the point to any competition? No one is ever going to step in, to that, be able to step above them because, they'll be running it all. And it's like they said, the bit about, being able to veto a takeover actually, reeks a bit for me, because that seems a funny thing to be able to say on the back of what's just happened with Newcastle.
Yeah, I think that's an absolutely brilliant way of describing it. I would have expected it from Katie, to be fair.
I'm literally sat here going, don't swear. Don't swear.
Come on then, Katie. Your rants are becoming almost as popular as Steve Hastie's on a Friday. So get the swear box out, says Dave.
No, I'm not going to swear. It's a very bad idea. Oh, fuck it. It's absolutely fucking bollocks, right? It's not even funny. Like, the worst thing is, do you know when you do something and you get to go the whole "I told you so"? It's like the worst time for us, because we told everyone months ago that it's all corrupt, but yet we're in the shittest place ever to go. I told you so. It's an absolute fucking joke. Like, losing 4 games is nothing to them because they want to play more European games. That's fine. Go and play them. Just leave the fucking Premier League alone. There's nothing wrong with it. There's going to be no competition. There's actually fuck all point in it. I fucking knew I'd start swearing. As soon as I saw this, I thought I'm absolutely fucked tonight, aren't I? I don't even know how many I've done, but I don't care. But it's just ridiculous. Like, it's clear that we're not. Everyone's obviously like, oh yeah, we want to do it for the fans. We want to do it for the enjoyment of the people that support the clubs. That's a load of bollocks as well. It's quite clear that we're just 100% just customers, because all we do is bring in fucking money, and that's all they're constantly interested in. And they're like, oh, I think someone else saw it before. It's like they want to get rid of two teams. That's losing 4 games. Them 4 games bring in money to the clubs that don't get the most money in. I'm not being funny, but you pay like a couple of $100 million for fucking players. Put some of that money in, tax the transfer fees, and get the money down to the EFL. Money to the EFL, I completely agree with. They need money. I do owe about 20 quid so far. I know it's ridiculous, but still, I've just been paid. It's fine. But it's absolutely just like beyond belief that people are there thinking that it's a good idea. Is it West Ham have come out and said that they don't agree with it in the slightest, and that they didn't even know anything about it? It's just fucking dicks, absolute dicks. If this happens, I'm totally calling it soccer, and I hate people who call it soccer. I'm calling it soccer, and I'm fucking off to watch the NFL. I'm gonna have to learn how to actually understand it, but I'm going to it. I would absolutely be broke by that. £5 to the NHS for every swear word, by the way. But no, I can't see any form of enjoyment. I can't even really see that much enjoyment for like the people that the Liverpool fans, just being the people that are like constantly, oh, we'll do what we want and everything like that. They're going to have no competition. And then the other thing as well is bringing in the takeover. Who the fuck would want to own a club when they don't actually have any say what happens with it? Nah, piss off. Just fuck off. Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm so pissed off I've sworn.
Well, I knew you were going to swear. I knew you were going to swear. I think it's pointless even trying not to. So, to be perfectly honest, like, well done. Kendall disappeared briefly there in disgust.
Everyone disappeared. Everything was going black screen. So I was like, oh my God, what's happened?
It's refreshing to hear, you just speak your mind, and that's what it's all about on this show. It's why we have it's an open forum, and you put it across, and everybody's agreeing with you, so there's no issues with that. I think, Kendall, that most teams, by the looks of it, according to the news tonight anyway, aren't in agreement with this. So I said, I was speaking to Liam Kennedy this morning, he seemed to think this could really get pushed through when he was really concerned. I just said it's a non-starter. I can't see this getting pushed through, despite the EFL teams wanting to obviously get the money, that they need money, and we understand that. I just think this is a story which hasn't got legs. Do you think it would get pushed through? Were you concerned when you first heard it?
When I first read it and I was thinking, oh, it's spearheaded by Liverpool and Man United, I thought, oh God, yeah, this is the start of it all. And then obviously the Premier League did a statement yesterday and said that they weren't really on board with it, and that they were upset that Rick Parry had obviously came out and in agreement with it and was sort of pushing it in. But then when it said that, I'm sure it said only Leicester said that they didn't want anything to do with it. Like yesterday, that was the whole news. Well, whether or not that was true, I don't know. But at the end of the day, fingers crossed that everyone doesn't get on board with it, because I can't really see it, apart from the top teams who are going to have the control and who are going to, benefit from it all. I can't really see anyone. At the end of the day,
back, I think. Have we? Yes? No?
It keeps going off. I don't know what's going on. And then at the end of the day, obviously the championship teams, they're going to see it as a money opportunity, which they're absolutely desperate for now, the lower leagues. And that's going to, but then they don't have control anyway in retrospect to the top leagues. So I really just don't honestly know what's going on. My stupid light's gone off again, just as every week. So I really don't know what's going on. Hopefully it doesn't go through. I can't see it happening, but that's not to say no changes are going to be made, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Sav, do you, when you first saw this, did you think, oh my God, this is going to happen? Or were you more or less I can't see this happening. This is just another load of, stuff for the newspapers to write because they need something different to write and annoying Newcastle fans.
Personally, I can't see it going through. The Premier League statement, although they said that, they said they were disappointed. I know that, they're just probably trying to cover themselves, but you've got to look at that, and, the government, I think I saw a statement from them as well, who said something similar. And, if it went through, it would just become predictable. And even if you were a fan of that club, seeing them win, season after season after season, surely that would just become a bit boring with no challenges and no chopping and changes. I would imagine, you've seen it in sports like Formula One, where people say, I don't watch it anymore because it's always the same team that win. And it's just because the competition would be out of it. I just can't see it happening. I would really hope it wouldn't happen because it would just change it so much for the worse. I mean, I've even seen sort of, Liverpool fans on Twitter saying that, they don't agree with it either. So, and they're fans of the club that are backing it. So I would hope it wouldn't happen. No.
I don't think comparing Katie to Chubby Brown's very nice. Like, I mean, fair enough. Katie, it's great, honestly. You obviously you just speak with passion, and that's what they've said about all of the girls who come on the show. You're all very knowledgeable and all very passionate. And that's why we decided to do this show, because the girls don't get much of a chance to speak about Newcastle United matters, and it is good. It is good to hear what you've got to say. Katie, were you really worried about this? I mean, it's going to come on. Comes off the back of the 1495 charge, which I'm going to speak about next. But were you really worried about this when you first heard it? Do you think, well, that's going to happen? I've got to be honest, I just thought, I shrugged my shoulders and just thought, this is never going to get put through. Not a cat and hell's chance.
Well, to be honest, I was pissed off with Kendall because I hadn't seen anything. I was having a great day, and then all of a sudden she sends through screenshots, and I'm like, what's this? I thought it was a joke. I genuinely thought, oh, this is just like, when you just see like memes and shit like that. I was like, and then I looked at it and I thought, no. And then so I didn't say anything, and then I've had more and more, and then I was like, it's that fucked up. It's probably something that would actually happen in some sense. I just don't know. A few months ago I'd probably go, no chance it would happen, but the amount of different stuff that's going on, I just don't know what to expect anymore. I saw like the Premier League came out and was saying how all the stakeholders have to work together. That's a pure management tactic. I've used that as a manager. I've put across to people an idea that I'm going to approve to convince them to agree with it so that I don't get the grief and they think they've come up with it. And I just don't know. I don't know if it'll go through. I don't know. I thought the takeover was going to go through, and how fucked up did that end up? So I literally haven't got a fucking clue. I don't want it to. I do agree they do need to have more support in the EFL. And they do need to, obviously, they need to do something with the Prem, because this top six thing is just a load of malarkey. And you can't have one team trying to scrape 10 mil and another team spending 100 odd mil on players. But as you know, only time will tell. And it's only going to end up coming out with more worse stuff as it comes on, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Lots of comments coming in tonight. I want to go. We'll go to Gary's just to do a little bit of a change of subject, just to let Katie calm down. Even in all, should we be worried by St. Maximin's comments last week, or the usual media spinning? Obviously, if anybody didn't see it, Kendall, I mean, I'm sure you did, but St. Maximin, some of these things get taken out of context when they get asked a question or get interviewed, and you think, what. You can't ask a player to commit to the club for life, but no. He was just, what he was essentially saying was, he hopes the club matches the ambition of him. But I mean, if they don't, and there's an offer comes in from a club that has got ambition, he's obviously going to think about it, isn't he?
Yeah, I really think that for the first time in a long time, he answered the question really well, and it was really convincing what he said, and it was completely acceptable. He didn't say anything bad. He didn't say, no, I want to be off. Like, if this club does not reach Europe League, I'm going. He didn't say anything like that. He was just basically saying he wants to play high-level football at the top level. If the club doesn't match that, which is completely fair enough, he's a top player. He is quite within his right to then leave. He's not going to want to be battling relegation constantly or going up and down from the Championship to the Premier League. He's not going to want to do that, and that is completely fair enough. He's only 23 years old at the end of the day. Like, he's a fantastic player. He's a creative player. He's got a he was well within his right to want better than, you know, bad football in the Championship. So at the end of the day, I think he answered it really well. He said everything that could have appeased the fans, which is fine. I think some people are just taking it a bit too far and sort of saying, oh, he definitely wants to be off and he's off in the near future. That's not true. If the takeover goes through, or if Mike Ashley just suddenly has a change of heart and a change of brain, and decides that he's going to, you know, make us a top club again, he said he would quite happily stay if it fits in with his desires. So I don't think there's anything to worry about there. I think he answered it really well. And yeah, I think that's totally fine.
Story says, I agree with the SM. Unfortunately, you wouldn't want to play for someone that has no ambition. But if the takeover goes through, I don't think we need to worry about him leaving. Sab, would you agree with Rich?
Yeah, I do 100% agree. And I think that's probably why he said what he said, to be fair. You know, he's not, like Kendall says, he ain't going to want to be battling relegation, you know, every season. And, you know, I think the thing that I do like about ASM is that he's actually, for me, he's always been very honest, you know, and he sort of, you know, engages with the fans. And I think that's a really nice thing about him. And I don't think he'd ever say anything against Newcastle. But, you know, if we stayed, you know, in this same thing where we're battling to stay up, I wouldn't blame him for moving on because, you know, he's a world-class player. And why wouldn't he? You know, why wouldn't he make that decision to further his career? It's for him, you know, not for us.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, I've seen these many, many times over the years where, you know, a player's been taken out of context, but I've got to agree with you. You know, he's given a fair answer. And somebody just said there, Johan Cabaye, of course, there we go, Funko Ferrari. Johan Cabaye left for the ambition of PSG's bench. So, of course, just like relationships, the grass isn't always greener. Katie, what's your take on Alan St-Maximin's comments this week?
This is going to sound really weird, but I absolutely loved it. And I know how fucked up is that. But because he answered it like a lad who loves football, and you can tell that when he plays because he loves footy. So if he has that mentality that he wants to have a club with ambition, then he has ambition, which he will then pass to other players that are around him. The younger ones which are growing, he will pass it to them, and hopefully they'll get ambition. Problem is, Ashley's ambition is only to make more money. So if he wants to go, no one can begrudge him. He's played fantastically for us, and he'll continue to play fantastically for us. But that is the problem. You can go to another team, and your game time can drop massively. So it's all swings and roundabouts, really. But I absolutely love the mentality that he's got, because it's the same as Wilson. They want to play football, they want to play well, and they want to be the best at the football. They want to get into the national teams. And if our club can't do that for them, then they've got every right to go to another club that they think can do it. And if he does go to another club further down the line, then I just hope that he's injured when we play him.
I like it. Your fan photo says, Katie, soccer is actually correct. As in association football, the mistake is believing football refers to kick the ball, refers to games played on foot rather than horseback. Thanks for that.
Fact of the day.
I hope that clears that up, yeah? Fact of the day. I don't know whether you saw this, by the way, last night. I got absolutely stitched up on it. I went on to do an interview on Facebook, which is on a show called The Big Big Show. And it's on every Sunday night, 8 till 10. The guy runs it on Facebook. It's on Nova Radio. And I was on to talk about books that I write, obviously crime books. And halfway through the show, maybe they do this every week, maybe I should have watched it, they decided to throw a Newcastle United quiz my way. Unprepared. And they just said, Steve, you're a Newcastle fan, so we've decided to ask you 20 questions on Newcastle United. But you can watch it back. I got 16 out of 20.
That's good.
Isn't it amazing when you can go on Google as well at the same time?
Unprepared. And I was sitting there on camera. They did they had musical guests on afterwards. They had He Knows, She Knows on. And they started asking them questions about music. So I did do better than them, I've got to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I'm now going to put myself in for mastermind after that. So
I would get 16.
I definitely wouldn't get that thing that your fan was talking about anyway. But never mind. So 1495 to watch Man United this weekend, Kendall. We've calmed down about the Premier League now. Now it's time to take it up a notch. £14.95 to watch the game of the weekend. Are you paying it?
Absolutely not. No, I didn't pay for the cup games. I will not be paying £14.95 to watch that at all. I wouldn't be paying it anyway. Like, what's even the point? Like, I literally don't understand it. Obviously, we all follow each other on Twitter. Everyone would have physically seen the absolute rant that I went on about this £14.95 the other day, and I even was sat commenting on the NUFC official Twitter because I was just so angry. Like, it's so tone deaf in these current times to expect people to consistently pay however much you pay for Sky, which is like 60 odd quid, plus £16 minimum for BT Sport, plus we're still getting our season ticket money taken if you've obviously got a season ticket on direct debit. Still getting our season ticket money taken every single month. So that's like £130 minimum that you're already paying. So why should you then, when other countries, like obviously we have in our group chat people from all over the world, in other countries like Canada, for example, you pay $5 and get every single Premier League game a month. So why should we, it's literally our country, why should we be the ones to pay £15 to watch one single game? In these current times with increasing unemployment, like obviously Newcastle's meant to be a historically working class area. Manchester's a historically working class area. Places like that, and they're expecting people to have the money in this sort of current times to pay £15 for one game. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Even if they said £5 a month or whatever, £6 a month like Netflix, and it would get you every non-televised game. Fair enough. They would have had way more people on board doing it that way. Way more people. But no. Again, pricing fans out of the game, going to find illegal streams when all they've ever gone on about and what was a big part of the whole rejecting the takeover was that piracy was an issue. They've actively sought out people who are involved with the game with piracy issues, and all it is going to do is promote piracy. So I just don't see any benefit in it whatsoever.
Do you think those cup games, the Carabao Cup games, were a bit of a precursor to this, Kendall?
Oh, definitely, 100%. They were like testing the waters, and obviously this Carabao Cup, like as far as I'm aware, I didn't obviously pay for it. I got streams on my Fire Stick, but as far as I'm aware, the camera angles were atrocious. There was like one camera. There was just no. It wasn't even worth £10 really. So yeah, it was definitely a precursor. Just obviously like this whole league thing with the Premier League changing rules. That's probably a thing where they're testing it to see how people react to it, and then they're going to change it further down the line. So yeah, definitely.
Sab, £14.95. Have you been raiding the piggy bank to go and order this for the weekend?
No, I've wasted all my money on shirts, to be fair. So I've got no money left.
What have you got on today?
Oh, this is last season's.
All right,
This is last season's away top. But no, I've spent all my money. I've got nothing left. And no, I won't be paying it. I did pay for the Carabao Cup, and I found, it was absolutely shoddy, to be fair. It seems like an awful lot, like Kendall said, if it was like Netflix, £6-7 a month, I would consider that. And you could see every game. And the thing that I thought was, Man United versus Newcastle is usually one that's picked for Sky Sports, and it's very odd and, conveniently it hasn't been picked this season. And I wonder if that's, there's a reason behind that, and that's, and the money that they're trying to charge. But no, I won't be paying it.
A lot of people talk about donating to the food bank, Katie. I think it's a good idea. I think a lot of people have already done it. Tom Lynn's already said that he's put his £14.95 into that. I know the food bank are delighted with people suggesting that. But yeah, I mean, the girls have made the point already. It's illegal streams that people are being now forced to go and share or find at the weekend or get a Fire Stick and get it on there. There's loads of people now forced to that issue again because it is ridiculous, isn't it? Having to pay £14.95, just greedy.
Oh, the irony! Not a few months ago, kicking off royally about piracy, and now they're sending everyone to the fucking streams. What the fuck? Yeah. No, I'm stingy as right. I got really angry about this, but I don't actually pay to watch it because I have that many subscriptions that I'm not going to pay for Sky. So I use my mate Sky Go, and use streams. So it doesn't really bother me. I thought it would be on the TV. I was quite shocked it wasn't on the TV. Whether that's because it's us or whether that's because Man United have been playing shocking, I don't know. But who the fuck would want to pay to watch Manchester United anyway? They're absolute dicks. But no, money to the food bank, so much better. And I'm pretty sure there'll be numerous different streams if you want to select that option available on Twitter.
Yes, definitely on Twitter. Get yourself on Twitter and find those streams. And don't forget, we will be doing Match Day Live. Contemplating maybe, because we can still all go outside, picking a non-league ground, or just let's just go to Dunstan Park and let's put the radio on and let's all just run around and reenact the goals and stuff. That would be a bit of a laugh, wouldn't it?
I generally thought we should all just go outside. I was there thinking, why the fuck would I want to go and stand outside my house?
We'll come up in the neutral zone, like so that's fair on you, Katie, so you don't have to travel. But I'm sure that will go down well. We'll get the lads under the lasses or something like that. It would be a good laugh. We should do it 5-a-side maybe at some point. Yeah, Katie, you're looking a bit. I'll get. We'll get Fabian.
So flashback to the times they used to put us in goal. I'm like 4'11".
You'll not be going in goal.
Start to come down and hand out the trophies.
You'll do a better job than Jordan Pickford, though, Katie. Don't worry.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got longer arms.
Yeah.
Alan Thompson asks the next question. He says, do you think the smaller clubs, Man United, City, Liverpool, is this the start of them wanting to form a European Super League due to these proposals and live streams? Trulls was asking, have we talked much about this issue that's been in the news all day? Yes, we have, Trulls. You can watch that at the start. This is a different angle to it. I mean, I mentioned this to Liam again today. I just said it could possibly be, a European Super League is what they're trying for at some point, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Obviously, the talk of the European Super League has been going on for quite a while now. So this is probably like the second best thing before that even happens. If they want to go and do that, crack on, go and do that Super League. I'll be gladly see the back of you lot. Honestly, I'll never see you again. I won't ever care. That's just my opinion. Go and do the Super League. I really don't care. I will not watch, and we can just crack on with our own little Premier League instead of you lot trying to take big fat control over everything. So yeah, it probably is. And in all fairness, it might happen. Who knows? This year is just going crazy, but nothing much else can go wrong. So I won't be surprised if they do, if the way football's going at the moment, to do that. So yeah, but as I say, I don't think anyone will miss them and go and do what they want.
Yeah. Sav, I mean, European Super League, is that something that excites you? If Newcastle were part of it, which I doubt they would be, we don't get invited into anything. They're trying to kick us out of things. But if Newcastle were part of it, would you be saving your money and making a trip over to watch them play Barcelona every couple of months?
I've never even had a passport, so probably not. I've never been on a plane. That would be quite exciting. But
have you ever left your house, Sav?
I've never left my house. No, I'm a hermit. No, I've just stayed on this little island. But no, I wouldn't be travelling over probably because I'm quite scared of planes now. It's been quite a few years. But
you're not in prison, are you?
You are?
You're not in prison.
Sometimes I feel like I might be, but I quite like it, so maybe not.
Because the shot we always is your bed, and then there's a door at the far end.
You know what? I'm getting a desk in here because I haven't lived here long. I'm getting a desk in, so soon I will be appearing from an actual chair, which will be nice.
That's for good behaviour.
Yeah.
She's used our commissary money to get the desk.
Wentworth, or whatever it's called. Yeah. Brilliant.
But no, you know what? That's like I said earlier. If it was a case of it went to European League and it was just going to be the same story every season, I wouldn't be very excited by it. And it's like Kendall said, and I said, I'd rather them just bugger off and just be on their own and play each other. Play each other to death. That's all they want to do. I can imagine that can be quite boring viewing. And we had our own little Premier League away from that, where there's actually a little bit of excitement. Than just be. I don't know if I've just got used to the self-punishment of supporting Newcastle, but it's the ups and downs that sort of do it for me. So I wouldn't want to just be winning all the time. And that sounds really weird, doesn't it? But it just, I just find that a bit boring if it's just same old, same old.
I just don't see the point of it, Katie. Do you? Like a European league, which is they're definitely going to come up with that idea at some point. I just genuinely feel, you know, they want to really like wait until they see what happens with COVID, because the government haven't got a clue what they're doing, and you know, we're not going anywhere. You know, we're not going to have football crowds in. A lot of these teams that they're talking about giving money to aren't even going to be there in 12 months' time if we continue the way we're going. And a European Super League should be the last thing on their mind.
Do I think it sounds a little bit like the Championship League, or is that just me? Champions League?
Yeah, somebody just made that point. Yeah, it does sound like the Champions League.
They're obviously bored of that now, so now they want just fuck off and go and play on your own. Like literally, I don't give a shit. Like I'm bored of hearing about it. It's all the time, and it's like if you're gonna do it, go and do it. Just go. And it's just frustrating. And the one thing, do you know what? I know it sounds quite horrible, but I'd love it if they did go off and they left the Premier League and then it absolutely flopped and they came running back and were like, can you let us play football again? And we were like, nah, fuck off. I'd love that to happen. But I can see it happening. I'd love to see it happen, and I'd love to see, I think it's just the thing is like, if you don't support Manchester United, you hate Manchester United. I'm surrounded by them. I hate the fact that Marcus Rashford is so nice because he plays for Man United and I can't not like him. But when it comes to Manchester United, like literally, I just don't care. I hope they go off, go and make a little Super League and literally if they do relegation, get relegated or just stay constantly at the bottom and just lose everything. That's what I'd love. I'd like that to happen. And then it turns out as well now, if Newcastle ever got involved in one of them, that I'm going to have to get on a plane so South can actually go abroad. And I hate flying as well, but
I was going to say, I just have the ultimate fear.
I love flying. And I was cabin crew, so I've got to love flying. So weird.
Do all of that?
Yeah. Exit
I'm too short for that.
Follow the lines across the floor. Seatbelt.
I'd never be able to do that. I'd only be able to put all of the baggage underneath the seats because I can't reach.
You couldn't actually do it. You have to be able to reach 5. I think you have to be able to reach 6 foot with the tip, like not on your tiptoes.
Fuck that.
I'm 5'2", so I don't know how I did.
Me and Fraser will just like keep on putting bags underneath our seats, so it's fine.
Ask about international football now, Kendall. Have you been watching any of it? I've got to be honest, since Euro '96, I've more or less switched off from international football, and with all the players going out on the drink at illegal parties and raves prior to it, it looks like the England players switched off as well. I mean, I think they got a win or 2 wins, haven't they now? That's how much interest I paid to it. But is it something you bother with, or do you just switch off and just concentrate on Newcastle?
I do watch international football, but I don't like pay attention. Like I'll be doing something else in the background, or like I'm not like when I watch a Newcastle match and like directly watching it and focusing on it. I just think like as you say, the players don't really take it serious anymore. It's not like I don't think these like the new players who've obviously been called up in the last few years see the importance of it, and whether or not it even is important to play for your national team anymore. I don't think watching England for the past 10 years has been horrifically boring. Like I would literally just rather sit and like I would literally colour in grains of sand. I would rather do that than watch England play football. It is so boring. Gareth Southgate only calls people up based on who they play for and who his favourites are. He doesn't care about, and he's trying to like call up like people like Calvin Phillips, for example, from Leeds, because like that he was trying to be like this liked manager who does things that like aren't on form. But yeah, he doesn't even get a game anyway, and then he plays people like Eric Dyer, who is rubbish, and like Jordan Pickford constantly, Declan Rice. So it's boring. I much preferred watching Spain and Switzerland the night before, and then France and Portugal yesterday. I preferred watching that than England. But it's just not nice to watch. It's not good to watch right now. This is the last thing the teams need. The last thing football players need is a massive rush of international friendlies that kind of mean nothing because it's this whole made-up Nations League. I don't even know why they even did that in the first place. On top of a full It's
What do we
stupid.
win?
On top of a full, exactly, you don't win anything. It's stupid. On top of a full domestic fixture already, and they're trying to like keep coronavirus cases down. It makes absolutely zero sense, anything that they do.
Eurofan says, here's the thought: the EPL reform diverts attention from pay-per-view, a Trump-like move. Yeah, I mean, they do tend to throw dead cats in every now and then. The media as well. There's stories come in to divert attention from. So they don't make conspiracy theories and that. So yeah, I would agree. Sav, do you buy England shirts as well?
No, I don't buy them.
Good.
I used to have some, like back from the 90s, and then when I moved out, my parents just acted like I'd just disappeared and threw them in the bin along with my Newcastle ones, which really upset me. But you know, no, I'm the same to Kendall. Like I watch it, but I do get a little bit bored, and then I'll be sat on Twitter as well, and you know, it's on in the background. But it's not like when it was like in the 90s, like when I started supporting Newcastle, you know, Euro 96, when the players all take it really seriously, and it's actually quite something exciting to watch. And you watch now, and it's just like it looks like a big joke to them. You know, it's half the time it's like watching Newcastle. You know, when I've watched them, it's just the same thing. No one's taking it seriously. Like Kendall said, you know, with who's in the England squad, it's based on what team you're in, which is another reason why I hope they all bugger off into the distance and go their own way, because it gives other people, you know, a chance. But no, it's just not like it used to be, and the excitement for me is gone. You know, I hope it comes back one day, but until those lot disappear, I can't really see it.
Freddie's not a fan of English football now. He says when Huddle dropped Gaza for a bloke in a skirt, he actually dropped him for Darren Anderton. Sick note, guy who never played in games, I think, as well. That was the start of a downward spiral for England. I agree 100%. Beck scores a free kick against Greece to qualify. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was absolutely, you know, the beginning of the end when all of those footballers came in. They all started getting ridiculous wages. And, you know, they all had this, like, holier-than-now kind of attitude, and they did nothing. You know what I mean? The only players who played for England, really, who can hold their head up higher, the 1966 lot. The 1990 team and the 1996 team, although they were good teams, they didn't win it. They didn't win the trophy. So the 1966 lads are the only legends for me. Katie, are you an England follower, or do you not give a monkey's either?
No, I do follow them. I'd 100% rather watch England play than colour sand in though. Like, I'm not interested in colour sand. No, I do follow them, but I think it's not just the England team. I think it's the whole game's changed from the 90s, which is why we don't see the entertaining football anymore. I didn't follow them yesterday. I watched the first match yesterday. I decided I was going to build a flat pack an hour before the match. So I thought I'll get it done and then I'll watch the match. I finished the flat pack 2 hours after the match had finished, so I completely missed it. And I have a feeling that with the way that they are playing, it was probably more entertaining watching me make a flat pack. But I don't know. To be fair, I'd give hands on the fact that the last World Cup run, I liked that. I enjoyed the matches. I thought they were entertaining. I thought it was good footy. But I just think the games are absolutely pointless. So there's no excitement around them because you don't get anything. And the World Cup I'll always watch. I'll always watch the World Cup. And I'll watch everyone in the World Cup that I can because I just get excited. And every time I'm like, this is it. 1966 all over again. And then I'm like, no, it's fucking not. And then I just don't watch anyone else. And I don't watch the final or anything like that because I fuck it off. But I do like watching it. But I think because I grew up watching footy in the 90s, it's almost like you're waiting for it to go back to the 90s. And at some point, it truly has to happen. I might be in the 80s, but it's at some point it's going to happen. Just don't know when.
I do want to put you up as well. I saw you laughing when Frankie put the comment up about he thought Jason Statham was presenting a show tonight. I'm not sure why you were laughing, Katie, but he's obviously got good eyesight.
I don't know what he wants.
I don't know what you're talking about. You know, when I said all the time I keep on saying that you're not funny. I'm changing my mind now.
I'm going to put my miserable face on now.
Stevie Bruce's spitting twin.
Yeah.
Right. I just want to say thank you to Darren Baldwin Funerals, just to lighten the mood, for sponsoring the show. Big shout out to him and the lads, and a big shout out to qtechshop.co.uk. Have you got your t-shirts yet, girls?
Not yet, but they're on the way, I think.
No, I got confused earlier when I saw Sav tweet about having a t-shirt with Alan Shearer's face on it. I was thinking, has someone got my t-shirt? Has my t-shirt got Alan's face on it? I was like, am I getting a t-shirt with Alan's face on? And then I thought, oh no, he's on about. She's replying to Steve and his knickers. Oh.
I know you didn't comment on that, but I thought it was quite funny. You see, it was me being funny again twice in one day. I don't know whether you saw the show yesterday. You probably didn't. You probably think, oh, God, Steve's got a messages on Monday and asks us to come and do this bloody show. So you probably don't watch any of the other ones. But did you see the one we did with Liam yesterday, Kendall, about the managers? Who is the worst manager under Mike Ashley?
We spoke about this a few weeks ago, didn't we? Like, on our show, we did the best and worst managers.
I mean, obviously, the thing that surprised me and Liam yesterday, obviously, we did the vote on Facebook, on the group. I mean, Joe Kinnear was a resounding winner with over 200 of the votes. Alan Pardew didn't get one vote. That surprised you?
It does, because, like, I think towards the end, obviously, when he had the whole Pardew out crap, like, everyone just hated him. But I don't think they hated him for his managerial thing. I think they just hated him. Like, as a person, like, we got fifth with him, so we can't really. I wouldn't necessarily say he was a terrible manager, like, but I just think he was just not a great person. He was just a bit of a knob, like. I couldn't think of like the word to describe him.
If he was chocolate, he would eat himself, Alan Pardew, wouldn't he?
He would, yeah. He absolutely would. Loves himself. Remember this whole.
Literally, I'm not being funny, but the best memes ever when you see him when he's doing a dance. That's why no one's voted, because he redeemed himself. Because we all use his memes to take the piss out of things.
Sav, I mean, Joe Kinnear, anyone who remembers that press conference that he did with Simon Bird, where he basically swore at him like 50 times in the press conference, was absolutely there. So I think Joe probably deserves it just for the embarrassment that he brought on the football club. But other notable managers, Steve McLaren came in a worthy second. Awful, but yeah, I think they got it right. Steve Bruce didn't get many votes. I think that clears it up. A lot of people go on Twitter, but I think it was a fair representative of Newcastle fans. I think we had about 500 people voted in total, and I just think it was a fair reflection. But what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I think I've said it before. I don't dislike Steve Bruce as a person. Actually, I quite like him as a person. As a manager, I don't necessarily agree. Maybe saying, I think, we've said, this season will be the telling time. I think he could quite easily swing it as the worst one if we play a load of Bruce ball and then end up going down. But no, Joe Kinnear, hands down for me. It didn't surprise me. I don't think many other people got many votes because, it was just a landslide. So, for me, yeah, 100%.
I would have voted for Joe Kinnear as well, to be perfectly honest. Statistically, I think John Carver was the worst, I think Liam said, out of them all, like on his win basis. Brucey wasn't far behind him, I don't think, but McLaren, absolutely awful as well. Like I couldn't stand him. What about you, Katie?
Oh, it's just shit, isn't it? Like they're all just crap. So it's the worst time for our footy. Where did ye old Rudy, I love myself, go?
It was only under Ashley, so Glenn Roeder just missed out because he was brought in obviously by the previous regime. Allardyce didn't really get many votes because he was only there two and a bit months under Mike Ashley, and he wasn't really a manager that was put in by Ashley, so it was literally just under Ashley. Rafa got a couple of votes, Shearer got one, but the rest of the votes all went to Joe Kinnear and Steve McLaren. Really, they got the majority of the votes.
Not surprising in the slightest, at all. Like Bruce, I don't really like talking about him. He's on his way to matching them, but he's not there yet. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see what happens Steve Bruce. Yeah, I mean, it's always going to split opinions, but I was just really surprised that Pardew didn't get a vote. Katie, what was your views on Alan?
I don't know, like sometimes, like I thought he was all right. So I generally think that it was the case, like Kendall said, people just didn't like him. Like the only thing I liked about him really was just like all of the shit that he did at the sidelines. Like it was hilarious, and he was just like, I'd spend more time watching him than watching the play. Like, and I'd be like, hang on a minute, what the hell's he just done there? And then it was just like literally searching for it on the internet to look back. But it doesn't surprise it at all. I'd be interested to see what it would be like if he came back now, whether we would prefer him over Bruce. That would be interesting. But I just thought he was a bit of a dick, really. So, or a knob, as Kendall said, really gently and ladylike.
Birthdays every now and then we'll give them a shout out. Paul Goddard, it's his birthday today. You ladies are too young to remember Paul playing, I would imagine, at Newcastle, where I'm not. I remember him playing, and he was an absolute legend at the club for me. One of my first heroes, certainly. Another man's birthday though, who I'm sure you've all remember, Shola, the Mackham Slayer. It's his birthday today, and of course currently works at the club as well. So any memories of Shola, Kendall?
Well, I used to like Shola. I always just remember because my granddad used to absolutely hate him, and every time he came on, my granddad was like, oh, bloody hell, here he goes. He's absolutely crap, and he always used to score whenever my granddad said that. Like literally every time my granddad said that, he would score. And then obviously he sold himself out last year, didn't he, or the year before, when he was in sole support of Mike Ashley and said that we should be grateful for an owner like Mike Ashley. And ever since then, I've just really hated him. And then the only other thing I literally can think of about Shola, apart from obviously his amazing goals against Sunderland, and I went to Rome with my grandma like 3 years ago, and Sammy Amiobi was on the plane with us, and my grandma thought it was Shola. So she went up to me, she was like, oh, Shola, like, my grandson loves you, can we get your autograph? And he was like, oh, I'm his brother, sorry. And instead of like my grandma being like, oh, it's all right, we'll have your autograph as well, she was like, oh, never mind. Doesn't matter. I was just like, oh my god, please just literally just get me off this plane right now. But yeah, Mackham Slayer, but obviously he sold himself out, so I don't rate him whatsoever. Apart from when he wasn't it him riding about on a bike with the apple? Yeah. Is that really famous picture of him riding around and he's eating an apple on a bike?
I remember that. Well, I've got a good little story about Sammy Amiobi, actually. I don't think I've ever told you girls this one, like. But when I worked on my last door job was head doorman at Tiger in Newcastle, and on a Monday night, all the footballers from Newcastle and Sunderland would come down, and this particular night, the Sunderland players turned up, and it was Lee Cattermole. He was always like leading the crew, and he came to the front, and you had a queue. You had a guest list queue, and then on the outside of the fence, that was where the footballers would always come to like jump the queue, so they'd like form their own queue. So anyway, the Sunderland players was Darren Bentley, Cattermole, and a few others turned up, and he said, "Oh, you're right, Steve." Any chance of getting straight in? And I went, "Can you just 2 seconds there, lads, please?" It was really busy, to be fair, and I just said, 2 seconds, lads. I just had a shout on the radio. Somebody was getting thrown out, and then just in the distance, I saw Shola and Sammy Amiobi coming towards us, and they walked straight to the front of the queue and went, "Hi, Steve, you all right? Any chance of getting in?" And I went, "Yeah, straight in, lads." And Lee Cattermole and Darren Bent went, "What's going on there?" Like I said, "Sorry, lads, I've got to let the footballers in first." Absolute classic, absolute classic. You should have seen their faces, like, you couldn't have scripted it any better. You could not.
That is phenomenal. I love that.
Yeah, Sav, Shola, any happy memories of Shola?
Do you know what? I really liked him as a player, and it's like Kendall said, you know, when he climbed up Mike Ashley's bumhole, you know, for want of a better description, that really annoyed me and slightly ruined it. But then again, last year I matched with this guy on Tinder who apparently manages for the youth side at Newcastle, and he said to me that he's actually a really nice guy. So now I'm slightly sort of torn. I don't want to be, you know, I'm not mean, I'm sort of on the fence with him now. You know, I'm sort of stuck in the middle.
I also remember taking her indoors to a match once. She's only been to one game. She hates football, and it was only the only reason she wanted to go because we managed to get an invite to an executive box on this particular day. And I think she came out for 10 seconds, saw this player fall over the ball, and she went, "Why does he always fall over?" And of course, it was Shola. And just that backs up what Nathan said about I've seen him falling over a lot. Katie, Shola, any memories which you care to share?
I really like Shola, and my memories is, as usual, Nathan, now I look like I'm just copying Nathan, is the fact that he'd literally be legging it and the next minute he'd be tumbling over and he'd be on the floor. I like him. And he went up Mike Ashley's arse, but did he do that purely because he had to? No idea, I haven't got a fucking clue. But I really liked him. I liked him to play him. I liked watching him. And I literally just remember him just literally being all over the place and literally like calling it every time just to the ref, and the ref just being like, "Will you just fucking get up?" But no, I like watching him play.
Yeah, he was okay. People want a photo of Paul Goddard. There you go. There's Sarge on the left with Gaza. Those green old strips were an absolute nightmare. I think I mentioned this on the Retro Show last week. They actually didn't come with green old printed on them, the replica shirts. You had to buy the logo separately and have to get your mum to sew it on, which is obviously I was only a kid at the time. So my mum sewed it on and she didn't sew it on properly. She actually sewed it on as though it was at an angle. And I was like, God almighty. So, it's okay, I'll take it out. And she was pulling the stitching out and I was like, oh my God. It's an absolute disaster. That like brings back so many bad memories, that picture, to be honest. I shouldn't have put it up. Jason, good evening, mate, from Germany. And hi to Adam Beckett. Vote Adam Beckett. I think we've got to say that. Vote Adam. Yeah. Yep. See, like Darren does shown us, he's got like a little thing where he points up to it and all that feels. You should have had like banners and stuff for Adam.
Oh yeah, like little flag. Done like a mini war flags, but for Adam, like.
Looking around with something on the floor. Look, I don't know.
I can't see if I like a pen or anything. I don't. I've got a broken flip flop.
This show's took a weird turn tonight. I don't know what's happening. It's gone from like here to like here tonight. I don't know what is going on.
I don't think anyone has had a drink either. Has anyone had a drink? I think we've just got cool.
Do you know what, Weezy, I'm sober.
I'm just crackers.
COVID-itis, yeah. Jason wants to know who would you have in if Bruce went, if Bruce went tomorrow. I think we've done this years ago, but when we first did the very first show, I mean, is there anybody who you would take now? The Pardew thing under Ashley is a bad shout, people would probably laugh at that, but what Katie was saying about Pardew coming back, it would be interesting to see what the fans thought of that. Would you have him back if Bruce had to go? Because I don't think anybody else would come in at this moment in time. Who would you take, Kendall? Is there anybody? Eddie Howe's free? Arsene Wenger's doing
realistically, if we were going to have someone, Eddie Howe maybe. But if unrealistically, who we're never going to get, I would love Pochettino. And even more unrealistically, which is like clearly never going to happen in my whole lifetime, I would love Diego Simeone from Atletico. I would absolutely love him. If he ever managed, I would like cry my eyes out. In a good way.
Yeah, so he used to go out with this last when he was 14, and she said a man was seeing a footballer from Newcastle, and it was Shola. He'd have been about 20, and their mum would have been about 40. Go on, Shola. Thanks for sharing that. That's an alleged story from Nathan, by the way. Sav, who would you take if Bruce suddenly decided that he was going to go travelling around the world and not manage Newcastle?
Oh yeah, I'd have Eddie Howe over Bruce, to be fair. As much as I like him as a person, I don't know. He could, I kind of hope he makes a fool of me, and he does really well, but I just cannot see it. I just think he just plays the same old game, and it really annoys me. Unrealistically, I'd love Jose Mourinho to come and manage us. To be fair, I think he's great. But yeah, no, that would be the one for me. I can't see it happening in the immediate future, but that would be the one that would, I'd be crying happy tears at that one.
Yeah, I don't know what David Crone blames you for, but he says you're a proper wrong-un, Katie. So
it's true. It's fine.
Clearly lives next door to you. Go on then. If Bruce did leave the club tomorrow, what would you, who would you like to see in?
To be fair, I don't want to go to realistics because there's only one person I do want to see, and that's Jose. I'd love Jose to come in. My mate's watching it, and he'll have been. As soon as she said it, she'll go. You should go. She'll be going on about Mourinho now. But I just love him. I just think he's. Everyone was going like as if he walked off after that pen. That's the kind of manager that you want. Someone who's that pissed off. It's shit like that happening, and all I want is him to come, and I just want him to finish the job that Bobby did, because he would come in and he would want to do absolutely everything for the club, but mainly for Mr. Robson, as he always calls him. I literally would just absolutely, I'd be so happy. Like, I'd even stay if Manchester United and Tottenham and all of that were in charge of us if we had Mourinho. Only he'd stay for like one match, I think, but still, I'd stay for a bit.
Terry Ross is asking, has Miggy moved in yet, Sav?
Yeah, I've made up his little kid's bed. He's got his, Transformers bedding on, so he's all adopted and it's sorted. Can't wait till Mother's Day.
Asking what's the girls' meal when going out? Kendall, what do you like to have to eat when you go out?
Oh, can we? I don't even know what that is anymore since March. I don't think I haven't touched outside County Durham since March. What is that again? I'm easy, me. I'm just, do you know what? I would just love to. I'm like, it's like memories. It's just like, well, no, I'm not easy. That sounded really wrong. But it's like memories of going out for food. But like, can't go wrong with classic like steak, peppercorn sauce, homemade chips. But everyone hates me because I like my steak well done.
Oh, I do as well.
Oh,
Thank
God. I think this question's a little bit unfair because Sam's never been out.
Yeah, this is true. I'm gonna have to have my prison food. I like slop.
Sam likes porridge.
No, when I go out, I actually.
When you've been out on home leave, Sam, what have you enjoyed?
It depends. If I've been out getting drunk, I just have a dirty doner and then I'm going back. Do you know what? I've just been out with such morons that every time I go out, I have a McDonald's or something. I've never been actually taken out for a proper meal. My life is actually tragic.
You were dirty doner, but enough said about that. The better. Katie, what do you like?
Steak. I'm a steak girl. Not well done. Weirdo. Medium rare over here. No, yeah, steak. Steak all day, every day. Unless I'm like, no, yeah, steak. No, yeah. So that's another thing now we've got to do. We've got to take us to St. James's Park, take her out for a meal, and take her abroad. You are literally going to cost me a fortune. It's a good job I've got this fucking swear jar in it.
That's going to be like a fund on our trips.
I've never felt like a hermit before. Yeah.
Right, last thing, Man United at the weekend. Predictions, I suppose. It's a strange one, isn't it? Man United coming off the back of a horrendous result. And, if this was normal circumstances, you'd be expecting a reaction from Man United. But I'm not sure. I think we're going to have an interesting game, Kendall. What do you think? What are you expecting this weekend?
Yeah, well, if you look at things like we obviously drew with Tottenham. I mean, I know people would think that maybe wasn't right, but I mean, even if it wasn't 1-1, it was only 1-0, and then they got absolutely panned by them. So technically, we could beat them. On technical terms, but you know what will happen, don't you? They'll be horrendous and still beat us because that's just typical Newcastle United, and we never ever do anything that we should or anything easily. So yeah, I'm hoping that we do beat them. And I've just seen someone say that 2-1, and that was going to be my guess as well. So fingers crossed. I'm just going to do a Kevin Keegan and be like, I would love it if we beat them, but I really, really would. And just knock another wheel off Ollie's bike. Oh, I would love that. Actually, no, I wouldn't, because then they'll probably get Pochettino, and that's what I don't want. So really, I don't know.
Okay, 2-1. We'll go with 2-1. Billy Ace agrees with you, 2-1 as well. Sam, prediction for the weekend's game against Man United.
You know, I think it's so unpredictable. You know, when we turn up, we're unpredictable. Sometimes we go out there and we look quite hungry for it. You know, most of the time we go out there and we just sit back. I think it just depends on how Bruce plays it. You know, Man United are going to come back and sort of feel a little bit out of sorts after that complete whooping they had. So I'm hoping that, you know, their confidence has gone a bit and we come out in the right mood and, you know, cause an upset. I'm hoping, you know, I agree 2-1. I would like to think anyway, but you know, I'm just hoping that they come out and they're just not confident after what's happened. You know, it was a bit of an upset, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was. Katie, your prediction for the weekend?
I haven't got a fucking clue. Normally, because once they have been absolutely smashed, they come back and they smash us on a regular basis. But I don't know. Do you know what? I think it might be a draw. I think it might be a 2-2 and it scrapes through. I'd love, after this whole announcement, though, us to absolutely pummel them. I'd love it. Just like Keegan and Kendall, because it will be perfect timing to absolutely annihilate Manchester United after what's happened this week. Absolutely perfect timing. So, in true Newcastle fashion, we'll fuck up and they'll beat us.
Yeah. Tough one. I'll make my prediction a little bit later in the week, but absolutely fantastic show that night. Do you think we've been like let off well leash because Samantha had a week off? It feels as if we've been like naughty when she's been off.
Yeah, we are a bit.
Sam's like the mum that like watches over all of us and makes sure that we like.
Samantha is going to enjoy being called the mum of the show, like. But I'm going to have to confess.
It's going to be a nice thing.
So, like, I can see that's her face now. She's not very happy. Big shout to Darren Baldwin Funerals. Great. And thanks for sponsoring the show. Big thanks to Q-Tech as well, shop.co.uk. And he is doing the T-shirts, so hopefully the girls will get them. And yes, Martin, your T-shirt should be posted. John will be posting them out. Great to have you on, girls. Look forward to having you on again next week. And until then, have a good week. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.